After understanding the ideologies of Buddhism, we need to understand its applications in psychology. Buddhist psychology basically focuses on the knowledge of self. That means it tries to find out who we actually are, and it understands our decisions, actions, thoughts, feelings, etc. The main aim of Buddhist psychology is to challenge our worldview and to address the basis of our psychological functioning, our sense of who we actually are, and our relationship with others and with the world. Buddhist psychology has taken place in academia, and various clinical researchers observed that the Buddhist understanding of consciousness, mind and behavior, motivation, personality and psychopathology, they all bear close resemblance to the perspectives of Western psychology. Mainly, the Buddhist psychology is concerned with the alleviation of human suffering, distress, and dissatisfaction. Buddhist idea of suffering is quite different from that of Western psychology. Buddhist idea of suffering is much broader than the Western psychologists consider. Western psychology mainly focuses on the clinical disorders, and if we talk about Buddhist psychology, it deals with suffering, including all the range of human dissatisfaction and the anguish. Buddhist psychology mainly deals with the emotional suffering rather than the physical suffering. That means it emphasizes on the mental aspects of physical pain rather than the pain itself. It's important to note that the Buddhist system doesn't ask one to take on a blind faith on their teachings. That means they always encourage a person to deal every information with his own logic and rational thinking. However, certain amount of faith is required to begin self-exploration. According to the goal of Buddhist psychology, the Buddhist teaching should be examined on the basis of our reason, experience, and the intuition. In order of the ideology of Buddhist psychology, all of has the seed of enlightenment. If that seed is properly nourished, it can lead us to be in a state of authentic happiness and in a state of bliss forever. Buddhist psychology mainly focuses on the idea of consciousness, but the modern neuroscience researchers have reduced our consciousness merely to the brain activity. They focus mainly on our physical bodies, and they pay very little attention to our mind or consciousness. Andrew Olinsky, who is a renowned psychological scholar, described the main components of Buddhist psychology, focusing on our direct experience, consciousness, our awareness, mind, and subjectivity of the individual. That means an individual's personal opinions or judgment. Buddhist psychologies can be descriptive phenomenology of mind. That means a science of experience. Here, the term phenomenology itself refers to the philosophical study of structures of experience and consciousness. Buddha's advice is to explore the dynamics of subjectivity. That means the constant change in our opinion as it unfolds in the present moment. And how can one witness such dynamics of subjectivity? By practicing mindfulness, meditation. According to the modern scientific views, various reductionists explain our mind in terms of physical structures and brain processes. Reductionist is generally a person who describes complex phenomenon in terms of its simple constituent elements. But the psychology scholar Olinsky has argued that the reductionist approach doesn't explain our lived human experiences or the quality of experiences. That means our quality of experience are required to understand one's completely, which is the main part of Buddhist psychology. There are 5 main insights of Buddhist psychology. First, the centrality of consciousness subjectivity. That means its main aim to focus on the consciousness of an individual. Secondly, human experience manifests through 6 sense systems. And what are those 6 sense systems? 5 sense organs you are already aware of, and there is one more 6th sense they are dealing with here, which is mind. All experiences are constructed. This means an individual experience is constructed by interaction of these 6 sense systems. Fourthly, experience is constantly changing. That means an individual's experience of a certain event or thing is always unique. Lastly, our self is revealed by 5 interdependent processes, and we'll discuss them in further slides. Starting with the centrality of consciousness subjectivity. There is need to explore the mind through meditation and other forms of contemplation. Why? To know our consciousness better. And it is not necessary to explain its parts or explain the structures of our brain. Generally, our subjectivity consists of the moments of awareness that are continuous, but we can understand those moments of awareness by focusing on the present moment. By doing so, it is easy to reveal how our cognitive processes culminate in the mental phenomena that we experience. That means to reach the understanding of our mental phenomena which lead to our experience, one needs to be present in the moment. That means being in this moment right here, right now, is where the wisdom can arise, and that wisdom can solve all our problems, or it can help in ending all our suffering. All our human experiences are manifested by 6 sense systems. Out of 6, 5 sense systems we are already aware, which are vision by eyes, hearing by ears, then taste by tongue, smell by nose, and touch by skin. There is one more sense system, is mind. This is considered as the 6th sense organ, and its cognitive events are the sensed object. Everything we know in our surroundings dependent on the activity of these sense organs. All these 6 sense organs help in knowing things around us, and our 6th sense organ, which is mind, interact with our 5 sense organs to give us all sort of experiences. For example, if we are talking about our vision, which sense organ is responsible? That is eye. Sense object is a visual object, and this interacts with our mind finally helps in creating the sensory experience, that is visual consciousness. All our experience is constructed. And how is it done? It is done by translation of all the external environment into internal language of consciousness. Like photons are light sense. They are translated to give us sight. Certain chemicals give the sensation of taste and smell. Vibrations will generate sound and give the sense of hearing. Pressure give us the sense of touch, and all the brain activity helps in cognition. But our reality is constructed on the basis of all of these only. That means what we consider as reality is always limited by what our senses will permit us to conceive. In other words, the study of reality is the study of human construction of experiences. Reality is what we are constructing itself. All our sense of reality may be irrelevant to what? The final message of Buddha, that is to transform delusion into wisdom. Now, to get rid of this delusion, one needs to explore the inner world. An individual is required to know about the inner consciousness. By doing so, he can attain the real wisdom. Human experiences are constantly changing. Our perception, sensation, cognition, image, memory, feeling, all such processes can never be experienced identically again. That means our every moment, if our brain have even evolved to reduce our awareness to increase our ability to survive. That means we have such tendency of changing experiences so that we can easily adapt with the changing environment. That is why our brain is also, or in other words, our mind is also playing its role to filter out the sensory reality, and thus it distorts our experiences. Buddha described the three major forms of perceptual distortion, that is, perceptions of permanence. That means when an individual perceives everything to be permanent, which is not possible. Secondly, satisfaction or the cognitive distortion. And thirdly, self or metacognitive distortion. The term metacognitive means thinking about our own thoughts. We can also understand this with the help of an example. Suppose it's raining outside and if a person needs to reach early somewhere and he's out and it's raining outside, in that case that person will consider this rain as a hindrance in his path, and his reaction could be, why is it raining? Next day again it's raining outside. This is day 1, this is day 2. Today that person is in good mood and his reaction could be, wow, what a beautiful weather. So the stimuli was same, the person was same, the situation was same, but experience of that individual was different. That is why we are saying every moment is unique. The real self, that is our mind and body, can be revealed by 5 interdependent processes, that are our physicality, our consciousness, our perception, affect, that means our feelings, and our habits. All 5 of them interact together, interdependent on each other, and finally help us in creating the sense of identity, or in other words, we can say the I-ness. That means it defines who we actually are. So according to Buddha, the way we experience our own self is consists of these 5 factors, which are constantly arising, abiding, and subsiding. In words of Gautam Buddha, health is the greatest gift, contentment is the greatest wealth, and faithfulness is the best relationship.